no problems, no issues, everybody handled everything perfectly in their life, why did no one raise their hand? The reality is, we know that there is no such thing as a perfect family. Why? Because families are made up of imperfect people. Each of our families is made up of people that we love each other, and yet we're not perfect. And yet, it's important also to recognize that our families play a major role in shaping who we are. Many of the insecurities that we have in life as we grow older come because of things that happen within our family growing up. But at the same time, many of the strengths that we have come also from that same place. Our families, and the way we grow up, influence and impact our personalities, they impact the way we move forward in life, they impact some of the things that hold us back in life. Our families have so much influence over who we are in this life. And so that may be one reason why family wounds are so deep. You know, the things that we experience in our families that are hurtful in our lives, they hurt us sometimes to the core because we expect regular people out in the world to misunderstand us, right? We expect regular people out in the world to sometimes hurt us. So we expect more from our family. Last week we made the point that we expect more from our Christian family, but the reality is we also expect more from our earthly family. We expect that our family is always going to understand us. We expect that our family is always going to accept us unconditionally. But the reality is sometimes that doesn't happen. And then there are times in life that where we struggle with different situations within our family. And the reality this morning is that when it comes to your family, I don't know your situation. And I don't know what has happened in your family or in your life, but I do know this. That when we study God's Word, we find that there is no family that is shown to be perfect. Every family that we see through Scripture has problems. Every family that we see as we walk through the Bible has different issues that they struggle with in their families. They would sometimes hurt one another. They would sometimes make mistakes. But we also see the importance of family in Scripture as well. You know, all we have to do is go back to the very first family, Adam and Eve. And when we have a son who killed his brother over a sacrifice. And yet, they were still family. So then we go all the way through Scripture and we see example after example, and we make our way to the family of Jesus. And in Mark chapter 3, we see that Jesus' family had conflict as well. Jesus' family had struggles that they went through as a family. And so the message that I want us to get this morning as we walk through the study together, the message I want us to get is this. Jesus knows the pain of family conflict. And Jesus can help you heal your pain. Jesus understands. Jesus understands that we go through challenges with our families. We have issues and struggles. And yet Jesus, because he understands, can help us through those moments and through those times. So we want to look at a moment in Jesus' life where he struggled with his family this morning. And to give a little background on Jesus' family, we know that Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary. He was conceived through the Holy Spirit. Joseph, at some point then, after her pregnancy began, she married a man by the name of Joseph, and Jesus was then born. But what we also find out is that Mary and Joseph had many more children. They actually had a pretty large family. Let's look at this moment at Matthew 13, verses 55 and 56. Matthew 13, beginning in verse 55. The question is asked by people in their community, is not this the carpenter's son? Is He's not his mother called Mary, and they're not his brothers, James and John and Simon and Judah. And are not all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all these things? Here we see, first of all, that Jesus had 4 brothers, and in addition to his 4 brothers, it says all his sisters. That means at least 2, but based on that wording, it sounds like there were several sisters in addition. So we're looking at Jesus had a minimum of 6 siblings, possibly many more. Regardless, it was a large family that Jesus had, and one of the things I have found is that the more people in a family, the more personality, right? The more personalities, the more challenges that we have. Also, some of them more fun and more joy, but definitely more personalities means more challenges. And so it's important to recognize here that when God sent his son into the world, he put him in a family, but not just any family. He put him in a large family. A family where he would have many experiences. And what we also know is that Jesus is the oldest son in a Jewish family, which means that he was considered to be the leader of his home, second to his father. And when his father passed away, which we don't know exactly when, but we do know that it was before Jesus began his ministry. So scholars believe Jesus was probably a teenager at the time that his father passed away. And so Jesus would have been the oldest child, the oldest son, and would have had responsibilities for his family. That leads us to our text this morning as we come to Mark chapter 3, and we're going to begin to set the stage of what happens here in verse 7. Mark chapter 3, beginning in verse 7. It says, Jesus withdrew with his disciples to the sea, and a great crowd followed from Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem and Idumea, and from beyond the Jordan and from around Tyre and Sidon. When the great crowd heard all that he was doing, they came to him. So here Jesus has been out not only teaching, but he has been performing miracles. And people are crowding around him so much that Jesus feels the need to kind of separate himself. So the people keep following after him. Pick up in verse 9. And he told his disciples to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd, lest they crush him. For he had healed many, so that all who had diseases pressed around him to touch him. So picture what's happening. Jesus here is so consumed by the crowd of people that he's afraid he's going to be crushed by them. This is more than any big concert you see out there today, right? This was just crazy. All these people, they wanted to just reach Jesus. They wanted to touch him because he had healed people. They had seen the miracles. They knew what he could do. And so they wanted to reach out to Jesus. But then verse 11, it says, and whenever the unclean spirits saw him, they fell down before him and cried out, "You are the Son of God." So not only was Jesus healing the sick, making the blind see, making the lame walk, but he was also casting out demons. And so the demons that were possessing people, they would acknowledge who he was and cause the people that they were possessing to literally fall down and to cry out and acknowledge that he was the Son of God. And so people are coming to Jesus like crazy. He's about as popular as you can get, right? And so, what do you think his family thinks about that? I'm sure his family thought, man, our brother, he's famous. He's awesome. He's healing the sick. He's making the blind see. He's amazing, right? Wrong. Jesus' family thought he was great. They thought he had lost his mind. They thought there was something obviously wrong with their brother. Let's pick up in verse 20 of Mark 3. It says, Then he went home, and the crowd gathered again, and they could not even eat. And when his family heard it, they went out to seize him, for they were saying he was out of his mind. Now, picture what's happening here. It's important to understand that the way it's worded in the ESV is a little confusing. It sounds as if his family was there. They weren't there at the moment. They were at their home. And they had heard all that was going on. And so they had made the decision they were going to travel to where Jesus was in Capernaum, and they were going to take hold of him, take him back home, and get him under control because he had lost his mind. He was crazy. So they needed to go handle the situation with Jesus, right? That's where the family was at this point. And so here, Jesus is simply doing the will of the Father. He's doing what the Father had called him to do, and his family thinks he's lost his mind. And, it is likely that his family had the very best of intentions. It may have been that his family were just concerned for Jesus and for his well-being. It also could have been that they were concerned about their family's reputation. After all, he was the oldest son. He set the stage for the family, and so it may have been that they were concerned for the future of their family. We don't know for sure, but what we do know is that they were serious. They saw this as a serious situation. They saw this as something they needed to go and take care of. And this was not the only time that Jesus had an issue like this with his family. In John chapter 7, Jesus is having a conversation with his brothers. And this happens in that conversation. It says, after this, Jesus went about in Galilee. He would not go about in Judea because the Jews were seeking to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of booths was at hand. So his brothers said to him, "Leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you are doing. For no one works in secret if he seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world, for not even his brothers believed him." Here, basically, what his brothers are saying is that they're saying, Jesus, all you want to do is be a big deal. And so go to Judea and be a big deal. Let everybody see you. Go to Jerusalem and show off so that you can get what you want. So here his very brothers that grew up with him, don't even believe who he is, and they're basically saying, all you want to do is just show off. So go and show off. The reality is that this was unjust criticism coming from his own family. Have you ever experienced times where you've had that kind of a conflict with your family? It's probably not been just like this, but it may have been a time when your family accused you of something that you knew you weren't guilty of. Or it may have been a time when your family was pushing you in a direction that you, in your mind, knew wasn't best for you. It could be a whole list of things, but the message this morning is that Jesus gets us. He understands. He gets where we are in life. He understands the challenges because he has been there. So it's important to understand that at the same time that Jesus was getting this from his own family, he was also getting it from respected leaders who were calling him demonic. Respected leaders in the religious world, in the Jewish faith, were saying that he was basically a demon. Now, remember that when this is all happening, his family is on their way to get Jesus. And let's go back to Mark chapter 3 and look at verse 22. In verse 22 it says, "And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem were saying, he is possessed by Beelzebub, and by the prince of demons he casts out demons." Basically, these scribes were saying that as they looked at Jesus' ministry, that Jesus was an agent of Satan. Now, have you ever been accused something that was the opposite of what Jesus was trying to do? Now just think about this for a moment. Jesus is the Son of God. He has come to save the world and to defeat Satan. And yet these religious leaders are saying what? He is Satan. They are accusing him of being an agent of Satan, working with Satan. And so let's look at Jesus' response here, beginning at verse 23. Jesus says, and he called them to him and said to them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but is coming to an end. Jesus is basically saying here, guys, your logic is faulty. This doesn't make sense. It would be kind of like if a center from the University of Florida football team passed the ball to the quarterback and then turned around and tackled him. All right? Now, I know that things like that actually could happen right now. But regardless, it's kind of like that. It's the idea of this doesn't make sense. This is not logical. You know, an agent of Satan wouldn't be working against Satan. And so he kind of concludes with this final parable here in verse 27. He says, no one can enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, then indeed he may plunder his house. Jesus is saying Satan is a strong man. And one who is stronger, Jesus, has come. And so he is saying here, what you're saying is not logical because I have come to defeat Satan, not be an agent of Satan. Now, this is the point where we see his family enter into the picture. Let's skip ahead to verse 31. In verses 31 and 32, it says, and his mother and his brothers came, and standing outside, they sent to him and called him. And a crowd was sitting around him, and they said to him, your mother and brothers are outside seeking you. And so here's Jesus. He's gone in the house. He's got a group of people that he's teaching. And here comes his family. They have arrived, and they stand outside the house. They send word for Jesus to come out to them. It's interesting that it wasn't just his brothers and sisters that were there, but his mother was present as well. And they're coming to get Jesus. They're coming to take him because they think something is wrong with him. And look at Jesus' response in verse 33. And he answered them, who are my mother and my brother? Well, think about that for a moment. Jesus' family has come. They're outside. They're saying, hey, our family member, Jesus, is inside. We need him to come out to us. And so the crowd around Jesus, they say, hey, your family's here. You know, they traveled. They're here. They've come to see you. And Jesus says, who's my family? Who qualifies as my family? And then he makes a profound statement that has literally changed the course of the world. He says in verse 34 and 35, and looking about at those who sat around him, he said, here are my mother and brother. For whoever does the will of God, he is my brother and sister and mother. This is our final point this morning. At that moment, Jesus formed a new, forever family. And Jesus' greatest desire is for you to join that forever family. Jesus was not negating the importance of his own earthly family. He did not resign from his earthly family. We know, we read later that he still had interactions with his family. He still loved them and cared about them. And one of the that moment that he acknowledged her, who did he turn to take care of his brother? He turned not to someone in his earthly family. He turned to someone in his forever family. He turned to John and said, John, take care of my mom. You see, he relied on his forever family while he continued to be a part of his earthly family. You see, his priority was always his forever family. And he wants you to be a part of it. Jesus understands the hurt and the challenges that come with our earthly family. He understands some of the pain. He also understands the joy. He understands how important our earthly families are to us, and the importance that we place on being a part of those families and growing within those families. But at the same time, he understands the hurt. He understands the challenges. And as a result, he helps us to navigate these earthly relationships by giving us something even better. A forever family. A forever family. You see, what is family? Is family a biological connection? I don't think it is. I have a biological father that I had since I was 2 years old. I have no memory to tell you what he looks like. He is my biological father, but he's not my family. Brenda and I have a grandson that we have no biological connection to, and yet he is absolutely our family. If he was here last weekend, everybody can tell. We don't look a lot alike. And yet, we are family. You see, it's not about biology. It's about the love that binds us and connects us. And God not only gives us an earthly family, but he gives us a forever family. And you know what's even better than that? When our earthly family is also part of our forever. That doesn't get any better. And yet we know that there are going to be challenges, there are going to be times where we struggle within our earthly family. And so we rely on our heavenly or forever family. Many of you know that Brenda and I went through some challenges recently within our earthly family. Some things that pretty much rocked our world and turned our lives upside down. And you know how we survived it? Because of you. Our forever. You held us up. You wouldn't let us fall. You supported us every step of the way. Through every nightmare, through every hard moment, through every challenge that we face, you held us up because you are our forever family. And that's what God gives us. That's why we're able to face the challenges in life. That's why we're able to face the challenges within our earthly family. Because of our forever family. Jesus established this family, and he wants you to be a part of it. And so this morning, how do we navigate through the challenges of life? How do we navigate through the challenges of our earthly family? Become a part of God's forever family. If you are a part of his family, thank God for that precious gift. So this morning, if you're not, don't become a part. He lays out for us in Scripture how to join this family. You know, when I was 5 years old, I was adopted by the man who is now my father, and I carry his name. And when I was 5 years old, there was a process we went through in order for me to join him within this earthly family and for him to become my father. One of the things we did is we went into the judge's chamber, and I sat on his lap. As the judge asked me, he said, Billy Wayne is my name, we all know by now. Billy Wayne, out there and have the opportunity to say, absolutely, I do. And the judge signs paperwork. Today, we go through a process in order to be a part of God's forever family, in order for Him to be our Father. The Scriptures tell us that the first thing we need to do is to believe on Him, to repent of our sins, to confess Him before men, and then to be washed in water, to be immersed, buried in water, and rise again as a new creature, recreated by God, perfect and holy, and part of His forever family. That's the process. And if you're not sure exactly how all that works in the Scripture, we would love to sit down with you and show you through God's Word what He has called you to be a part of His forever family. So the point of today is whatever type of family you have here in the world, God wants you to be a part also of His forever family. If you're so